TAV out of Louisville, Texas, a suburb of Dallas, looking to put together a perfect trip to Kansas City as Coast out of San Diego stands in their way. She's Lori Thomas, I'm Daniel Gilman, and we are set for this 18s championship match on court 16 here at Bartle Hall. And TAV will serve, it's Marcaria Spears, the UT commit that serves, and it's a termination from Jaden Jager on the left pin.
And we have to make note, 6'1" outside hitter, and she is a junior playing up in the 18s.
One of 5 athletes on the floor right now that are 17-year-olds playing up, including Davis, Spears, and Pitts on the TAV side. And it's Pitts, the libero, that'll take away the serve receive, and a termination for the BYU commit, Suli Davis.
6'2" outside hitter, goes to Colleyville Heritage High School in Euless, Texas. That was a nice use of the block to get the first kill.
So Gillian Pitts will serve, find the other libero, and Jimena Cordero Barr. And now a free ball comes, and in service, in system, Tiana Owens misses wide. So we crowned our champion in the 16s. Legacy out of Michigan took down Mintonette from Ohio in 3 sets earlier. And so here we sit in our second of 3 championship matches as the swing from Owens is tooled, and Coast able to even it 2-2 in this best of 3 format.
That kill was by an outside hitter, 6 foot tall, number 23, Tiana Owens. She is heading to Colgate to continue her career. It was interesting when we were talking to the 2 coaches. We always try to go over, talk to the coaches. And Ojan Barenbegi, we were like, hey, you know, what are you going to bring? What's your strengths? And he's
for TAV. As a set to the left side brings the pin hitter in, and that's Italia Bernal setting for the Coast. Swung by Madison Triplett once again, the Santa Barbara commit. And a free ball saved goes the other way.
Great run down and save.
Hold on a second, we're going to have a late call on 4 touches go against TAV, and I'm not sure you are used to whistles that late.
So what they're talking about is, I believe there were 2 people like on the defense side. Right, so the coach right now is saying, okay, we're gonna listen in here.
So a conversation here between Anyanwu and our head referee as we take a look again at Coach Baron Baji. Now, Hawkeye perspective. There's Coach Ojan, the Coast.
Yeah, it was off her head, so that is considered, you know, still part of the block, right? Or they were saying they blocked, then off her head.
Yep, so
yes,
that's the first touch. So a 4 touches is called as Anyanwu tucks and able to side out there to make it a moot point and give TAV a lead here early. Mackenzie Parsons will check in. She's headed to Cornell and is the second middle for Coast. She'll swap quickly with the libero and Cordero Barr. Here's Bernal, the setter. And I like the uniforms, very spirited, a lot like the Mojo, which is the Pro Volleyball Federation team in San Diego.
Right, in that same area, yes.
Very similar vibe with the pink starry. as Anyanwu finds the back line. We talked about it in the first match, Lori. Nothing better than getting a kill, backing up with an ace a moment later.
And one of the things that TAV talks about, he said, we're not powerful servers, but we will be very accurate on our zones. So he is very calculated in where he is wanting the ball to go on the serve.
In system this time for Coast, and a slide comes as Haley Ogden is blocked, but the cover is there to give a free ball to TAV, and now the stuff comes from Ogden.
That was a great block. Anytime you see a big, powerful hitter, it's going to come off even faster and stronger.
Ooh, that smile of frustration there from Macarius Spears, the future Longhorn. So here we sit. We made the move from the 16s to the 18s, and there wasn't any player in our first match, of course, allowed to commit. So now it's a whole nother level watching some of these future stars in the D1 ranks dueling it off as a back row attack from Jager gives her her third kill.
I want to make note on the outside hitter for TAV, number 23, 6'3" outside hitter, going to Texas, Macarius Spears. She is taking big swings, and it doesn't look like she's going to do anything off speed.
It's a two-setter formation for TAV. Here's Camille Edwards with the back set overpass. And then the attack error comes the other way. So Camille Edwards headed to Michigan. Her counterpart in the other TAV setter, Carson Eichenloff, is headed to Ole Miss. And you can just hear us going through some of these names. TAV expected the #1 seed. But it doesn't always mean they're going to win, as we see Atalia Burnell headed to Denver.
You know, they've been playing for 3 days, and so you don't know, like, how many went three sets every time. How many... Okay, sorry, we had to dodge a ball coming at her head on that one. But you can take a look at this. Once again, this is going to be about power. This is going to be, you can see off the head, came over our top of her head. We almost made a play.
Oh, too bad. I was promoting the broadcast, looking down, and it just caught a piece. As the left side comes from Macarius Spears, who was just a junior in high school and unable to keep up with the pace from the right side, as the fourth kill comes from Tiana Owens.
Take a look at Tiana on her approach. It looks like she's in position to go cross, but she makes sure she turns her body up in the air and took that ball line.
And an early timeout called by TAV as the Coast lead 9-6. And, well, you had to imagine the pace was going to pick up between the 16s to the 18s. But what have you noticed is the biggest difference in physicality?
Well, I think #1, height and power. That's what I see. Height and power is really the big difference when you go from 16s to 18s. I think TAV is probably a little surprised that they're down by 3 right now, because he knows that he owns the physicality of this match. And so as long as Coast is blocking like they've been blocking and playing defense, they're hanging in there.
Well, Coast, they've been there, they've done that. We'll tell you about that in a little bit. They have certainly been one of the staples here in Kansas City over the past few seasons. A runner-up last year in this matchup. And leading 9-6 despite being undersized. This is Spears going well over the block. And that is a 17-year-old playing up. And obviously, we talked about it, headed to the University of Texas.
And another thing you see is you're seeing a lot of these players, these taller players, playing all the way around. You're going to take another look at the swing by Macarius Spears. And it is heavy. It's a heavy ball for sure.
Beautiful dig by the libero in Pitts. Return the favor from the setting position, and now the stuff by Livings. Size providing here for TAV in a comeback.
As you can see, she's right there, straight up, strong block for the point. And now we're here, 8-9, right back in it.
Oh, out of system, roofed off the dome.
That is 2 straight blocks for Jaden Livings. Take a look at her second block in a row.
This
I'd
one
say her forehead was above the net on that.
I was going to say that's a lucky break. The ball was headed out of bounds, but Triplett got in the way.
Yes.
And so Livings will now feed on offense. What a trigger coming up into the kitchen comes Eichenloff. Point continues, and the side out comes. We almost ate that aggressive setter there in Carson Eichenloff.
Once again, everybody's playing with incredible energy and incredibly just talent on both sides of the floor. Nobody's going to give up a ball without trying.
And here's the Santa Barbara commit in Madison Triplett. System left side, and Livings is dug. Now on Yeonwoo wants her charm to set. But I'll tell you what, Lori, watching, we are sitting right in the middle of this court, point blank view. Ashby Daniel gets up on the block, the Alabama commit, and the size from these girls in black are unbelievable.
Well, and just remember, you know, smart players like this, if the ball is not passed well, some middles will just go, you go and release. So then you got two people, 4 arms, just standing there waiting for that ball to be set outside.
6-1 run for TAV, and it comes to a close by way of Jaden Jager's right hand. 4th kill for Jager, headed to Indiana.
Number 13, Jimena Cordero, the libero, back to serve. She is committed to Davis, a 5'10".
Oh, and a beautiful short serve there by Cordero. And it's funny enough, you know, I called the Southland Volleyball Tournament in November. Her older sister, Karen, is a superstar, 5'8", and averages 12 kills a match.
Amazing. Take a look. Here's what they're doing. They are definitely wanting, you always typically want a middle to serve. They're hiding her a little bit. That was a short serve. She said, that's mine. I've got the next one.
Coast comes off of a sweep over Tri-State Elite. 25-23, 25-18 in the semis earlier today as Livings misses wide. And a 9-4 lead, tied again at 10. Coast has now edged on top after TAV went on a run to tie it.
Well, and I want you to know, we've always said this, and as coaches, we know to win these big matches, it's who's going to make the least amount of errors. That's what this comes down to. Every point matters. Miss serve by Coast. So those points, serving, defense, blocking, hitting errors, every point is crucial in what they do.
It's the 3rd service error for the team from San Diego, and a familiar name on the sideline as well. After USD went on that miracle run to the Final Four 2 seasons ago, Layla Blackwell graduated and is now an assistant coach standing on the sideline for Coast, the former USD and Indiana University all-conference middle, as we take one more look.
Take a look. Number 12, yet again, owning this. Ball comes up, and she's just going to take the 2-hand straight down.
Quick set to the middle, and that was a Parsons swing. See if they feed it back to the left side. They will, and it's Jager. Dug, though, by the bro in Pitts. Cross-court swing to perfection by Suli Davis. That's her 3rd kill.
As you can see in that rally, everybody was hitting well, everybody was playing defense, and it's going to come down to finesse. That last kill was a very sharp cross-court swing.
So there's Suli Davis's numbers. She still has another year of high school, as do 2 of her starting teammates in Spears and Pitts. TAV may be dangerous here again next year as the tip by Jager keeps Coast on top by 1.
That was a very, very smart play because that ball was actually set inside about 3 to 4 feet, which pulls the blockers in, and for her to make that one little tip back to her left leaves that wide open.
Bombing swing by Davis. Beautiful jump set by Bernal, but a chance here for TAV and Livings as she is roofed. Jager with 5 kills and now a block.
That was a beautiful set by the libero, number 24.
Going into a match like this, TAV, they expected 1 seed, much of their front line over 6 feet tall. What is the message to your athletes?
we want to be the best version of ourselves from the sideline and on the court.
Absolutely best version of themselves. And then what are you looking to change heading into the rest of this set? How do you plan to keep the momentum going?
We'll have to find out.
We'll have to find out. Stay tuned.
All
Danielle,
right,
back to you.
We got our own Greg Popovich over there with the tight lip. Thank you, Haya, as we get set. There's Layla Blackwell. I mentioned her earlier, the former University of San Diego All-American middle who took USD to the Final Four in 2022. She's an assistant coach. I have to imagine that having that experience can bring a little bit of comfort to some of these girls.
Oh, yeah. I mean, especially that just a female, role model that has played the game, that knows it. It's just a little bit easier for the relationship and to be able to know and understand that they've been through it also.
Well, I have to hope the assistant coaches can provide a little bit more personality after seeing Barron.
Yeah, he is definitely tight-lipped about how they are going to play or react as we try to do some sideline reporting.
Well, we'll hear from the other coach in a little bit, and I guarantee Carlos Ramos is going to bring a little bit more flavor. As a huge cut from Davis is dug and then given away on the ball handling error. The double called gives TAV a chance to pull even here.
Serving for Texas advantage.
So we'll see Camille Edwards come back in. It's a two-setter formation. Edwards plays in the front row. That's not your typical 6'2". Usually both setters will play in the back row.
Yes, and so it's unique, and he's doing what works for him. And I think you put the setters who actually makes the best connections to those hitters.
Off high hands, handled by Anyanwu. Her second kill.
I sit here and we watch these incredible players, incredibly talented, and I go, where did they get this? Where did they get this incredible talent? Well, I can tell you that Jaden Livings, number 42, her father, Nathaniel Livings, played for both Cowboys and Bengals. And then you have Marcaria Spears. Mom played for WNBA, and I think the father is right here, Marcus Spears.
Yeah, he's a coworker of ours, technically, an ESPN analyst and former Cowboy and LSU great. And so there is plenty of bloodline that carries through. And who doesn't know the Jermaine O'Neal story as well? And I believe the O'Neals have a hand in the TAV organization, too, after we've seen Asia just dominate through.
Jaden Livings, 6'1". Watch her come out of the back row on the right side. Woo. Dominant on that swing.
Livings headed to USC with her teammate Anyanwu. Feet on the near side. Saved, though, by the libero Cordero Barr, and then sent wide by Parsons, which will give TAV one of their only leads they've had here in set one.
Both teams haven't let down. I mean, you're trying to look and see, who's going to just make a mistake or who's not going to pass a good ball. Both teams are doing very well.
Strong serve by Davis. Forced to pop over in the middle by Parsons. And it's the cut by Spears that misses, and we are tied at 17. And Lori, this has been just as tight as the first set was in our 16 under that went 3 sets.
Well, that's why they're here, right? They started playing on Saturday morning. In this group, 18 started playing at 7:30 Saturday, 7:30 yesterday, 7:30 this morning. No one looks tired to me.
Oh, and there's a key block for Coast to retake the lead, and Natalia Bernal, the setter, helped in on that one.
Natalia Bernal is a 6-foot setter. So had it just a straight up great block and set it well for the middle blocker.
Brings in Paulina Bailey to serve. And then they move Anyanwu to the outside, and it works out for the middle. So Anyanwu will go back to serve. She's headed to USC. Certainly someone that can probably move around in the front row now that we see what her right side swing looks like. Already an ace here this afternoon for young Favor.
Great pass from Post. And a great down the line swing by number 12. And that is Madison triplet. Coach said that that is their one-star hitter that they will look to get the ball to, committed to Santa Barbara.
Yeah, she had a little flavor as well. You gotta love a good stare down as this one comes right into the kitchen of our cameraman. We'll see if we have a replay of that. That ball came directly into your living room as Coast takes the lead on an ace. Here we go. This is the camera angle. Watch out.
I don't think she was very happy that she couldn't come and trample over the cameraman.
Welcome to the big lights, Miss Edwards, who's headed to Michigan as the overpass terminated by Spears. And 2019 here in this first set. TAV with 1 timeout left. Coast has 2.
Number 1 for TAV, Carson Eichenloth, back in 5-7, headed to Ole Miss.
Great in-system ball, give and go comes for Owens, but it's dug and saved on 2 by Davis. To the right side, it was Owens all along. She had the serve receive and both swings on that point.
Oh my gosh, I'm always gonna say that you gotta love to be able to take the ball yourself, pass it up, call for it, and she put that ball away.
Owens headed to Colgate in the Northeast region. Great block form against Spears. Right over to Livings, who tools the block to perfection. And TAV, despite having the size advantage, they're still trailing, but have worked their way back within 1.
Yeah, I think Coast is responding well to the big attacks because they are taller. TAV is taller. They should be able to even possibly get over the top of the hands. But I look, and I'm seeing Coast blockers. They are blocking high so that they could slow down that ball.
So Lee Davis, the BYU commit, just a junior, playing up now, has 4 kills as we take a look.
17 years old, playing for 18 and under. TAV, one of the top programs and number 1 here in the Triple Crown tournament.
Yeah, their facility is in Louisville, the MAC facility, just outside the Dallas area. There's an out-of-system ball. Wow, what a feed by Owens. That might be the pass of the day.
Yes, and once again, she was off. They were off balance, and she did a great pass. Watch this pass to outside hitter. 24, and you saw again, she was brought inside about 4 feet, and she used the right hand off of that right side blocker.
That's Jager. And her 6th kill for Jaden Jager, as the service error is number 4 for Coast. They have given away 4 points in this opening set, and it's 1st to 3, takes the early edge in a best-of-3 format. Hits, a short serve. Owens, cross court, but Living is there. Jaden Livings beats Jaden Jager, and TAV leads late.
And there is 23. I'm going to mention 23. She is 6'3" all around. She is playing back row, just made an incredible pass to the right side for the kill.
And there's the family connection as a timeout is called by Coast. Nathaniel's an NFL athlete, Jaden, this daughter, as we take a look. This is the feed from Spears, as you mentioned, to Livings.
Actually went through her hands on the block and hit off her head and out of bounds. So here we are, a very tight set, 23-22. No error can happen.
I think you got the NFL cheering section as well, with Livings and Spears chanting TAV right next to us, as the team in black out of Dallas area, 2 points away from taking the opening set. Julian Pitts, Houston commit, libero in white. She serves, and a cross-court perfection by Owens evens it at 23. And of course,
that is incredible. Look where this ball lands. She just takes it across her body. That ball landed about 4 or 5 feet right behind that net.
7th kill for Owens in this opening set. Now an out-of-system ball from Spears. Fed towards Davis, who has that poppy arm. A chance for Jaeger, and Coast has the set point.
Very nice timing for 24, Jaden Jaeger, junior, outside hitter. She actually looked like she almost delayed her swing, and the blockers were on their way down.
And TAV calls a timeout here just before set point. We might as well use it, right? You don't want to go home with the timeout.
If you have it and it's 24-23, take the timeout.
And so here's a look at the 2023 NIT finishes from a season ago. And I mentioned Coast came up short. They won the first set against Dallas Drive Nation and then fell in the third, 16-14. But redemption this year as Coast took out the number 5 team from last year in the semis, Club V18, in a 3-set thriller.
And I actually was on the match last year for the championship. Watch Coast. Obviously, they were playing 17s, but the 18s of Coast were incredible.
So out of the timeout, we've seen so many service errors in this set, but Owens makes sure to deliver one on Sargent. Davis burns it through Jaeger, and we have extra points for the second straight championship opening set. Let's throw it down to Haya, who was listening in on Coach Ramos in that last timeout.
Yeah, I was just listening in on head coach Carlos for TAV, reminding his team that everyone is an option and to keep their passing open.
Thank you, Haya. And the passing has certainly led to healthy defense for TAV as they create the miss swing, and now Coast will play a game of tag as well by calling timeout and trying to flip the script on gamesmanship.
Yeah, you always, now that it's so tight, you want to call that timeout. It's all about trying to break momentum when you take that timeout. Because right now, TAV has the momentum. They're up by 1, set point. So they need to come back out. They need to get their serve in, and Coast has got to make a good pass.
Let's take a second here to really soak in the atmosphere on this court 16, because it is standing room only. The stands are packed, full house. Everybody has cramped in. I think it's 6 or 7 rows deep. Look at the sides to try to catch a glimpse of this 18s championship match.
Well, and I think when younger people, when they watch these players, I mean, they're in awe, right? They're in awe of wanting to be just like them. They're role models, whether you...
And an ace wins the opening set for Jaden Livings in TAV.
Caught them off guard, and that ends with an ace.
We will come right back with an exciting first set in the books. It is the Triple Crown Women's NIT team from Dallas. Comes from behind, wins it in extra points, and we throw it courtside where Haya is with Coach Ramos.
Yes, I'm here with Coach Ramos right now. TAV took the lead here. What was your message to the team at those timeouts? It seems like that's when your gameplay really seemed to turn around.
I believe that our blocking is a factor right now, and we're not getting as many blocks as we normally do because our footwork is a little off. And I think if we can fix our position of our body by executing our footwork, I believe that we'll get a little bit more blocks, slow down the ball a little bit to make sure that we can keep those leads that we got early in the game. Offensively, I think we have to have a little bit more better execution on our selection of where we take the swings, and if we do that, it's going to be a great game.
Going to be a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, the blocking numbers sit like this. TAV with 3, Coast with 2, as we take a look at the rest of the stats. And, well, if you can't do the math that quickly, I'll carry it for you. TAV hitting 323 in that opening frame, Lori. Coast down at 240, and the service errors certainly totaled up for the California crew.
Yeah, TAV, they said that they're powerful. That's what you saw, and you just heard Coach. He said we need to clean up our block because it was so tight, and Coast was pretty successful. And he said they've got it. We got work on our footwork to make sure we clean up our block and go and make sure we're in the right place.
Well, Coast is hoping that it is a similar script to 2023 because they won the first set here in 18s, lost the match in 3. We saw our first match of the day also go 3, where the winner of the opening set in Legacy out of Michigan hoisted the crown. Now we start our second set with a termination by Livings right here on the near side.
You can see number 42 on the right side, Jaden Livings. The block was good, but with her being on that right side in her approach, she was able to use the block and ended up being out.
Owens, who had 6 kills in that first set without an error, cannot terminate. It's Suli Davis whose tip falls, and it's 2-0 TAV.
Well, and that's the first tip that we saw. So you could tell defense was ready for that hard hit ball, what she delivered the whole first set. Great time to change it up.
Not the start Coast was looking for coming out of the break. And now a fling to the corner by Jager is saved. Ooh, but on Yanwu, maybe the smart decision there not to tangle at the neck, because that's where ankles get in play.
Yeah, and we have to look at Marqueria Spears once again, 6'3". She went totally to the corner, made an extension dive to really pull that up.
Eichenloff, the setter in black, able to feed to the middle, and now a joust won by Onyanwu, punched over by Jager, and the point continues for Suli Davis. Anytime it gets to 11, it feels like the termination is coming.
Yes, and she's playing really smart because you can go up and just take these huge swings all day, but she's changing it up so you're not sure what you're going to get from her, and that is in her advantage right now.
Colleyville Heritage senior for Suli Davis, junior. She's one of the 3 juniors in the starting lineup as the love from the tape continues for Jaden Livings, her second ace. And furious start to this second set for TAV after they won the first in extra points, 26-24. 1 set away from winning the 18 under Triple Crown NIT. That's 4-2 the score on the service error.
Serving for Coast, Tiana Owens.
Owens, who has been perfect offensively, 7-0-11. Unable to keep a service run together, though, and TAV's side-out mark in this set has to be up over 8.
And that was an example. We haven't seen as much activity out of the middle, take a look, as we have earlier today. When I watched them earlier, they were running the middle a lot. And so you see, and the coach said, we're gonna have to have good ball control so they can run out of the middle, and that's what you just saw. But I'd like to see them run a little more middle.
Jager, strong serve. Miscommunication leads to out of system, and Spears is able to pop it over on 3. Slide comes to success for Mackenzie Parsons.
It is very common that when you defend against a slide, when you watch the slide goes parallel to the net, the ball, hard to block, but a lot of times when you see and you react to the player, they start moving left, and she cut it back.
Onyanwu again from the right side. They've set that middle up as a right side hitter sometimes.
Well, when you look at her and you look at how hard she swings, watch this. The speed, the power, you want to set her. And if you can't get her in the middle, they'll just move her to the right side so they can get her the ball.
An ace to boot here for Favor Onyanwu, headed to the University of Southern California. Give and go. Triplet has not had success today. She's usually the go-to on the pin for Coast. Spears has to work with a lofty pass from Onyanwu, and a slide comes, flipped over by Parsons. We've seen Livings from the back row. This time she's gathered. Nothing to do there but punch it over by Daniel. And Now the block formed, and the Coast offense just out of sorts here in this second set.
Yes, and that was Mackenzie Parsons, 6'2" middle blocker. That set was very tight, and you are trapped at that point, especially up against such a big block.
Another look at Spears, who has dominated thus far. She had just 2 kills in the first set, but has certainly provided here in the second. Tell you what, we don't have a lot of elevation here, but that serve definitely got away from Onyanwu.
That was a floater. You know, it was fun talking to the TAV coach. He is Carlos Ramos, and he wanted us to really roll it. You know, a Ramos, he's like, you've got to say it right. But he said, we asked him, we go, what kind of coach are you? And he said, I am extremely passionate, and I want the girls to play with as much energy as I coach.
Well, you could see him right there on the top left, fist pumping away in the white hoodie as his squad continues their dominance. Let's take one more look at an overpass led to a free ball, and Spears is there. The passing edge has been with TAV here in the second set after a 2-point first. This feed is in system. Triplet's been quiet. A slide to trick the defense, but the libero in Pitts was ready, and it turns into a transition kill for Suli Davis.
And there was another shot in her toolbox. If you take a look, she's now number 11. We've been talking about her, Suli Davis, coming out of the back row and just decided to go ahead and tip from the back row.
How's 8 kills without an error sound to you? Because that's Suli's mark thus far as the service error pulls within 3.
She is crafty, hitting 1,000. That's incredible. And you're just seeing she knows how to switch it up and really make things happen for her.
And Triplet caught up, forgot she was ready to file into the front row, laughing it off as Spears and Livings continue to combo. Spears provides the size at the net, the feed out of system to Livings for the kill.
Well, and you're starting to see exactly what the coach talked to us about. You will not see a bigger physical team, especially out of system. So their physicality is taking over right now.
Aria Spears, 17-year-old, playing up with a few of her teammates as Coast is able to side out, and Owens has her 8th kill. It's been a quiet set after a dominant first for Tiana Owens. As we take a look again at the UC Santa Barbara commit in Madison Triplet.
We will see again, this is the rotation where they do try to do a short serve. We'll see if they're going to try to do it again. Try to get it over to that middle blocker.
Davis, a no-look that finds the corner, and you talk about confidence. She didn't even react. It was like, all right, another day in the park.
Well, what was interesting about that swing, she was actually facing us and took it down the line. She didn't even look at where the ball went. That's confidence.
Unbelievable amount. Owens down the line beats Pitts, and that's what Coast needs to do, right? Try to trick those blockers, because that's where TAV has the edge.
Yes, and right there, she took it down the line, tried to catch those blockers a little bit inside. Actually, the defense was there, just couldn't make the play.
Coast hanging in this second set, needing a comeback. Long flight home to San Diego. They're hoping to celebrate on that flight as Davis... It's hard to stop her.
If I count her right now, I think she's at 10 kills.
Yeah, she's 505 in the second set. She had 5 kills in the first. Great counter.
With no errors.
No errors. BYU and Heather Olmstead, they jumped on a good one, didn't they? As Davis is just a junior, has one more year at high school at Colleyville Heritage. Overpass on the Jager swing. Cordero Barr continues flinging around, but this time her touch cannot stay up, and TAV able to stretch their lead again.
That was difficult. She was trapped a little bit. You set that ball within a foot of the net, you are going to be a huge...
In action, 13-8. TAV hoping there is no third set, and they could celebrate here on the floor after 2. Owens.
Yes.
She's got something to say about it, doesn't she, Lori?
She's just got that nice cut shot that she crosses over the front of her body, and it is landing 8, 10, 6 feet right on the line in the right front of TAV.
Owens has kept pace with Davis, the 2 leaders with 10 kills, as Anyanwu is dug. Owens runs it down, might have put too much pepper on it, and she did, as TAV pulls one away from our media break at 15.
Serving for Texas opponent, Subi Davis.
There's a good look at the true size of Favor Anyanwu towering over her setter teammate in Edwards. As the serve is long from Suli Davis. That's probably the only thing she's done wrong today so far. Now a late sub will come, and Triplet for the first time today is subbed out for Coast. And instead they'll bring in Saren Rogers in the front row.
Saren Rogers, 5'10" outside hitter, uncommitted at this time.
And they do say that service errors are a bit contagious, so that does bring us into our break. When we come back, we'll see if TAV has what it takes to take it home in 2. We're in the 18s championship venue, court 16 here at Bartle Hall, as we sit in the middle of set 2. High is waiting on the court side with the NIT director in Jared Rudiger with the Triple Crown organization.
Thank you so much, Daniel. And now this is the 10-year anniversary of NIT. What else makes this year so special?
Yeah, it's very special to have we have the top 86 out of top 100 clubs in the country are playing in the NIT this weekend, which is pretty amazing. It's our highest number of attendance of top-level club teams since we've started back in 2014.
Highest attendance, and now I've heard that there are some special plans in the works for next year NIT. Can you share any of those?
Yeah, we've been collaborating with Love Volleyball, the professional league. They will be running 6 professional matches in the arena in conjunction to our NIT in-house here. So our 12s division will move out to a different facility, but 13s and 18s are still going to be intact in here. And we'll have our professional athletes playing alongside our elite youth athletes in Kansas City in 2025.
Wow, lots of exciting changes coming your way. You're just going to have to watch. Daniel and Lori, back to you.
Thank you so much, Haya, as we get set. Jared also runs the NIVC, which is the NIT for the college level, a really fun competition. UTSA this year was able to set records with attendance, and I think El Paso as well. UTEP hosted the semifinals and broke all of their attendance records. It's really fun to see the sport grow.
I have it on my calendar because I didn't really know a lot about it, because it's kind of the collegiate club, right? And so
no, it's all the college teams that didn't make their version of March Madness in December. Those teams go to the NIVC.
Yes.
Wichita State won the championship this past year, but we've seen Georgia Tech grow. I believe Boston College won it the previous year. And so now we get back into the 18s, and these are players that want to be playing on the big stages and will be playing here next year as the kill comes from Saren Rogers fresh off the bench.
Well, and I think it's so fun to watch these players because they're going to be easy to watch in the future, right, at their college career, and even beyond that, because some of these you never know what can happen in 4 years after this and how much they will improve.
Spears powers it right through the block, and all that Coast does to try to work their way back, there's not really an answer for an in-system ball to Makaria Spears.
No, it goes back to there are 4 players on the floor for TAV who you can go to any one of them to get a kill. It's not just 1 or 2, which is typical what you see. There are 4 key players.
And now Spears adds in with a block and a stuff at that.
Well, they're doing exactly what Coach said. Clean up their footwork on the block. Let's make it stronger. And another thing about blocking is you don't want them reaching everywhere, but to take that space and let defense play behind it.
Coast needing a run with their backs against the wall, and it's Rogers again. 2 kills off the bench in fulfillment of triplet. There's a look at Rogers going to Point Loma Nazarene out in California. And needing a little bit more where that came from, as a whiff here from Ashby Daniel might open up that rhythm here for Coast to try to come back.
It's going to be important, the serve location.
The service run continues for the setter in Bernal. Here's Spears moving to the right. Back row from Davis, it's handled. Rogers, a little overzealous on the swing. No, they're gonna overturn it and give her the kill.
Yes, and they're calling a net on TAV on that block on the right side.
I think that's our first net today. Through 2 matches,
I think you're right.
We have had such high-level blocking. They've stayed out of the nets as we take a look.
Yes.
And a clear net.
You could see it was right on her forearm.
Livings demolished.
If there is not a solid block and everybody's weight, if they're not evenly weight on each side, they're going to get a kill. And that's what it is, the physicality of TAV, who's owning this set right now.
Spears to serve, 7 points away from the title. Quick to the middle, and Owens olays 123 to the other.
Let's look and see, where does this go off of the blocker's hands? If you saw, they're hitting high, so you saw that it went off the top of their block, which is causing that kill. That's what they need to continue to do to try to get past this wall.
Now, these 2 teams played in the Lone Star event earlier this season. TAV won in 3. It was a comeback win, and that's what Coast is trying to get some revenge on here. And you wonder, you come to these events, is there any familiarity? Lori, I think the answer is yes. There's a lot of familiarity between some of these teams.
Oh, of course, because they're all going to the elite tournaments throughout their...
I got in the way. I was ready for that one, Lori.
Good defense, Daniel. But they're all seeing each other because they go to the same tournaments, which are qualifiers, high-level club tournaments. They want to be at the best. They want to play against the best.
TAV looking like the best right now. 5 points away from the 18s title. And an unbelievable save, just misses getting over from Davis. And Coast able to pull within 4 on the side out, which does bring size back to the net in Parsons. So that's an area to keep an eye on, number 14 over on the right side. As the libero in Cordero Bar to serve. Mentioned that her older sister Karen just graduated from the University of New Orleans after starting her career at Delaware State. And Suli Davis, she started celebrating before the point ended. She was that confident.
Well, that's because she was hitting 1,000, so why wouldn't you be confident to say, yeah, I'm going to get my kill?
She has 7 swings and 6 kills this set, somewhere around that. It has been an unbelievable showing from the BYU commit. And a serve that just tails long from Livings. She was getting ready to erupt if that hit the line.
All right, so Coast, you kind of see him. I mean, just the energy as we're sitting here. Coast has been a little bit quiet. Seem like they're, just trying to make sure that they do the right things.
Davis is blocked this time, and that's her first attack error of the game. And a reminder, we have one more championship match coming for you here on ESPN3. It will come about 20 to 30 minutes after this match finishes, and it's the 17s to round out this triple header as we've got a timeout here. And Lori, I'd love for you to kind of carry us through the
Division I programs are here in Kansas City watching the best.
Following the TAV timeout, It does not get any better. Anyanwu is blocked. Parsons hit the turf after and can celebrate as the Coast 18s have worked their way back within 2. Oh, a little slippery down there for Parsons.
All right, you have the Coast, who's now within 2.
This was 20-15, and that is a crucial service error, Lori. 7th service error of the match for Coast.
That is definitely something that will probably weigh on them if they can't take this match. To have 7 serving errors is definitely not what you want to see.
And now an overpass that is overhit by Edwards, and there is no touch. So the gift is given right back from the setter headed to Michigan. And it just shows you, no matter the level, even when I'm calling Big Ten volleyball, you see mistakes, and it just happens. And you just have to let it roll off your shoulder and keep the set going. Back row look from Livings. Rogers has been instrumental off the bench. He'll go right back to her. Spears, long, and a 1-point set.
You know, it's so interesting. You're hearing a lot of people, you know, talking and yelling at officials and all of that. You guys, these are the top officials. I actually am in my 4th year as a collegiate official. These are a lot of my colleagues, and they do a great job. And it's not ever going to be a perfect match.
Rogers delivers her 3rd kill off the bench, and Coast has climbed back 22-all.
The crowd is getting excited. Coast has made it back from 3- and 4-point deficit.
Jaeger. Spears off balance, off target. Down 20-15. The Coast from San Diego lead late.
This is where the coach is saying, here we have a timeout called by TAV. No surprise, because Coast just scored 2 or 3 points right in.
Starts to break down, Lori. What do you have to rely on? You can't just say, hey, we're taller than them, we can win. We're seeing that it's not always the case.
Well, and not, yeah, you're right. And because when you take that timeout, you know, it just kind of let's regroup. We're good passers. You know, just say we just need the 1 pass because we'll take care of business on the front line.
Texas Advantage Volleyball Club. Still 3 points away from winning this. On a huge block by Parsons, covered. The Coast out of San Diego, 2 points from forcing another set. And again, Saren Rogers.
Wow, you're going to look at this. Number 11. Number 11, look at her, 5'10" outside hitter, going up a huge wall. She goes high. She made an intentional swing to go off the top of those fingers.
Jaeger to serve on set point. Spears delivers and gets 1 back. But back to that previous kill by Rogers, Lori. There's the answer, right? What do you do against size? Well, it's a situation where Anyanwu is too tall, because if she's not up that high, the ball's going well long. So you go for the high hands, correct?
Yes, you do, especially in that situation. You're 5'10", going up against a 6'3" blocker. You have to use the hands.
Anyanwu to serve. Another set point for Coast.
Good pass.
And it's delivered by Saren Rogers, and she'll send us to a 3rd set.
Wow, that was a huge comeback from Coast. They were down 3, 4, maybe even 5 a little bit earlier. Had to fight all the way to the end, and they did it by great serving.
And for the 2nd time today, a championship is going as it comes. A pair of 2-point sets have us sent to a 3rd, and we throw it down to the 3rd member of our team, where Haya Koffler caught up with a few of the coaches.
Absolutely. I just talked to the Coast assistant coach, Layla, and she just shared with me that she's extremely proud of the grit that these athletes showed in the second set, and that this will be a fight to the finish. So Coast is not out of it. They are here to stay, and you're going to have to see and watch what happens. Back to you.
Thank you, Haya. And of course, that's Layla Blackwell, the All-American middle who graduated from the University of San Diego after a Final Four appearance in 2022. So she knows what it takes to come up clutch. As we take a look at the stats through 2 sets, what has been the biggest difference maker in your mind?
Oh my gosh, I want to say blocks, but look, it's 4 against 3. So I think that's where Coach would like to see TAV really increase that stat. They should have more blocks based on height. But at the same time, Coast is playing very smart on their hits and using the top of the block.
And it was certainly the addition of Saren Rogers. She came in for Madison Triplett, and you have to imagine at the club level, you have stress from parents and, you know, dealing with high schoolers. To have someone come off the bench in the biggest moment in the middle of the second set takes a lot of gall as a head coach, and it's certainly paid off for Coach Barambegi.
Well, and you just heard Haya, grit. The word is grit, and that is something that you can't really teach. You've got to have it inside, in your soul, in your energy, to have grit, to never give up, and that's exactly what they did. Taking another look at number 11, Suli Davis for TAV. Oh no, we're going to go to Saren Rogers. She has 14 kills overall this match.
No, David, yeah, unbelievable off the bench from Rogers. 6 kills on 8 swings without an error from Rogers.
I couldn't read your notes, Daniel.
I was trying to.
You have your own little,
We're having
like,
some fun. We have
secret code.
Awesome, you know, we have a great stats guy here with us helping us out. His name is Ed Crom. We really appreciate all of the help, all of our cameramen. Trevor Hayes is our main producer today, and so we are so grateful for all of the help and
great
viewership
defense
as well. Yeah, we got a great match going on as well. 1st to 15 wins this 3rd set, and the Coast jumps ahead 2-0.
And if I don't know, if you're watching this match and we can see the energy levels, you just saw this huge kind of Coast was laid back, you know, almost like their coach.
Yep.
And now they're just kind of this ball of fire.
Almost like a wave.
Yes. Oh,
no pun intended.
good one.
In system here, needing a side out. It goes to Livings, and she misses wide. And Coast leads 3-0 on a race to 15. And an early timeout comes from TAV. Look at the excitement from this crew that thought they were dead. Down a set and down 20-15.
I think another thing, after talking to some of the players, you know, and they were filling out their forms and talking to the coaches, I think there was some sense that Coast is coming in as the underdog, right?
Yeah.
And if you want to look at them as an underdog, that would just fire me up more. And that's exactly what they're doing. They've responded to adversity very quickly and strong, and now they're carrying that into the 3rd set.
Well, let me go over some of the universities that these TAV athletes are committed to. Michigan, BYU, USC, Texas, USC, Ole Miss, Alabama. Then you go to the other side, and it's Santa Barbara, Davis, Cornell, Gonzaga, Colgate, Indiana, Denver. Quite a discrepancy, and yet you're seeing a miracle on Terraflex. Down 20-15 in the second set. Sport Court, sorry. 4-0's the score.
We're
on a
so
huge
excited.
block.
We're losing it over here. We're so excited because we're watching this incredible volleyball right in front of us. I think Daniel and I would like to be subbed in right now.
I'm ready. Oh, speaking of, coming back in, Madison Triplett for a serving sub. Livings needed it and gets it. And you also have a feeling that there's a lot of pressure on the side of these Dallas kids.
Sure.
They're expected to win. They're the 1 seed.
Yes, and look at, you know, we just talked about these NFL greats and WNBA. There's sort of a lot of stardom around this team. And so they are the ones that Coast is going to have to take over.
And a tip falls for Jaeger. Coast leads 5-1. Let's take a look. Watch Livings let this go. perfect touch.
They are going to have to not let anything drop, both teams, without an incredible effort behind it.
And an ace, service, receive, collapse, and TAV needs to gather themselves. Coast with their third ace.
Coach is making calls on the side as to who to go after for serve receive.
Jimena Cordero Bar. Headed to UC Davis out of the Big West Conference. Anyanwu says not yet. Got a while to go to get to 15, Lord.
Well, and they went after Makaria Spears, 6'3" outside hitter. She's the one who shanked the first one, but gave it to her, put up a good pass, which could run the middle, and you know it will be terminated by favor Anyanwu.
Nearly 10 kills from the middle position for Anyanwu today. But in system, Coast has been hard to stop. Unbelievable cover there by Jager's face. We'll go right back to the Indiana commit, and her touch this time not as perfect, 6'3".
That was the right decision, but just a little bit too soft. She had those blockers inside at least 6 feet, and she was smart, knew where it needed to go, but just couldn't get it over the net.
Back to Jaden Livings to serve. Little bit lofty on that set, and Owens is roofed.
You know, watch this. I want you to watch the reaction of number 11 and number 12 after the block. 12 is just like, yeah, I'm here. 11 is wanting to jump out of the gym, so it just shows you how everybody handles competition.
There's an overpass, won by Jager.
Jaden Jager, a junior 6'1" outside hitter with the joust win against a double block.
I was going to mention it. You talk about the differences in the reaction. Davis on the left, number 11, is a junior. Anyanwu, a senior. So she's been there. She knows a comeback is needed. As Anyanwu is dug by the libero Cordero Bar. And now a block by Edwards and Anyanwu. And TAV stays in the hunt.
Favor Anyanwu, she is focused. She's actually had like 3 sets in the last 4 plays, so they are looking for her to terminate.
It's Jager again off the block, and the Indiana commit has now picked up her 10th kill. And we keep emphasizing all of the 17-year-olds on the black side. I'll tell you what, Coast has a 17-year-old over here that is certainly growing and brimming as TAV Black continues to try to climb, and Spears gets her first kill of the set.
And 23, you just saw her turn around. Marcaria, look at her turn around and look at her teammates and go, let's go. She is fired up.
6th kill from Spears. Her dad, Marcus, right next to us, very vocal. You see him on the bottom left with the black hat on. NFL All-Pro defensive lineman and now an ESPN analyst. Is the overpass by Daniel termination
Free
unsuccessful.
Ball coming, TAV, what are they gonna do with it on the free ball?
And it's Spears who palms it straight down. Just like that, Lori, it's 8-7.
And once again, now they're responding. They're passing better. Just what we said from the beginning. Now they've turned it around a little bit, and now it's more even. This will be interesting to see who's going to take over the next couple of points.
And coming in to serve here is Sophia Armstrong. Big dig by Davis in system. Back row Livings. Owens with the handle.
Dig.
Where does Edwards go? It's Spears who hits the antenna.
That set was just a little bit too far out, and she couldn't bring it back in. She was too tight to the net, so it hit the antenna.
Yeah, and you see so many of those All-Americans at the D1 level switch to their left hand, but it takes a little bit of learning to see how you can figure it inside the antenna. As another sub off the bench to serve, it will be Paulina Bailey for Coast. Tense moments as the crowd continues to build here on court 16. Spears into the net, and Coast gets to 10 first in the 18s NIT Championship presented by Triple Crown.
It has been sort of this wave of errors, right? TAV was up, Coast making a couple, 2-3 errors in a row. Now it's back on the other side.
Owens is there.
Okay, free ball back to TAV.
Oh, an awkward slide as Daniel can't keep up with Edwards.
Yes, and they did. I saw it. Coast was in the net. Oh, it was an incredible opportunity to go up by three.
Yeah, we got to take a look at this.
You're going to see right there with their forearm. They got it.
Quite the gift. 11-7 turns into 10-8. And a side out as well as Carson Eichenloff. Setter headed to Ole Miss will serve. And it has been quite the year, calendar, whatever you want to call it, volleyball season for Texas, right? They bring home the championship at the NCAA level in Tampa in December. A chance for a comeback here in the third set for TAV. Spears down the line. In is the call.
Yeah, and you know what's unique about club, and they changed this a few years ago, that now instead of everybody going all the way into June, the 18s finish in April with their championship so that they can turn and get ready to move on to college.
Pivotal point 10-9. Out of system bumped by Cordero Barr. Rogers has been quiet since her burning hot sensation, and it's Spears on the antenna again.
Yeah, and that it really just comes down to that was number one, setting the ball outside just a little too far and a little too tight.
Livings, covered by Davis. Back to Livings. She tools the block, and it's 11-10.
Serving for Texas advantage,
Both teams playing incredible volleyball. This is exactly the score you see, is exactly the talent that we see on both sides.
Makaria Spears to serve. 15 wins the championship here for the 18 Elite Division. Rogers with a firecracker finish.
Wow, I'm just going to state that that was a surprise. She was about 5 feet off. There was a solid 2 block, 5-10. She cut that to the right, and big power hit.
Currently a student at Victoria Christian Academy. See that there, headed to Point Loma Nazarene. And now an ace. TAV let it go, and a mistake from the number 1 seed.
That was an incredible serve right down the line.
And you love to see it. Triplet who gets pulled for Rogers, by no means has given up on her day, comes in as a serving specialist, and now a timeout, the final one for TAV here in the final set.
And I want to say serving specialists are very highly successful. That's why they are there. And sometimes people will go, you know, especially if you're a player and you're like, all I do is serve. Serving is crucial at this level. So if you're a serving specialist, that's exactly why you're out there on the floor, because you're the best server and you need to make something happen. And she did with a straight down the line ace.
Meanwhile, our 17s are just about ready to get on this floor. They will take on Court 16 next in the 17 championship between the Milwaukee Sting and the First Alliance out of Western Springs. So that will follow to wrap up our triple header of championship volleyball on this President's Day. As Triplet to Livings, right through the block to keep TAV alive.
They are not going to give up. They are not going to hand this over to Coast. They are going to play, and they're going to play with confidence every single swing.
look at Jaden Livings, who is headed to the University of Houston, new Big 12 member institute. As again, the left pin for Coast has been explosive, and it's Jaden Jager.
She's had an incredible match today. Both outsides that you think, you know, and they said, you know, the block, you know, you got to really press forward. And it's interesting because if you're that tall, you don't have to block high. You've got to reach over and make sure you're building that roof.
14 kills for Jager. Match point, championship point for Coast. Living has to keep it in play. Davis off the block to keep the match going. And we haven't heard from Suli Davis in a while.
Well, and you knew she was going to go up and make a great play because she's crafty, she's smart, and she knew that she was going to do something to not lose on her watch.
Coast, who finished as the runner-up a season ago. 2 more match points as Livings will serve. In system, Jager. Covered by Triplet. Anyawu wants it. So it's Davis. Cordero Bar will feed Jager. And the match continues on the right arm of the BYU commit, Suli Davis.
Suli Davis is fired up. She turned to her team, stomped the floor, and is fired up and wants her team to win this set and match and championship.
Let's draw out a little bit of drama, why don't we? A timeout on the floor as Coast wants a breather. Let's take a look at Suli Davis and her 2nd consecutive kill. When you face match point, there's got to be some nerves on the swing.
I don't know. When I look at her, I'm like, I don't think so.
Some are just built
you don't
different.
Get here, yeah, you don't get to this final match with fear. I'll tell you that.
So in your mind, do you want every swing, regardless of the score, to kind of be about the same then? You don't want to consider, we don't want to make sure this stays in or make sure this touches a touch.
No, you never want to do that. You
Right.
never want to tell a player, make sure you get your serve in.
Right.
That's like death right there if you try to just hold them back and go, make sure you don't make a mistake.
All right, so that's Jager, the leading kill getter for Coast. Here on championship point again, and it's Jager blocked to extend the championship.
Now, if you watch number 12, you saw her get fired up for the first time. She's usually nice and steady and even, but this one, she wasn't gonna have any of that.
It doesn't get bigger for Favor Anyanwu. Her 7th block for TAV. A win by 2 as we head to extra points. And it's Owens who contributes to keep the edge out on San Diego's Coast.
What I like about her swing, you've seen her cut it very sharp left. That one, she cut it to the right to pull it back as she was coming inside. Incredible smarts about the game.
So happy that you're with us. She's Lori Thomas, I'm Daniel Gilman. And we have one more match to follow, the 17s. But we have to wait on this 18s that has been so fun. And now we tie at 15 on another Davis kill.
And you saw the last few kills, Davis was taking big swings, but she decided to do the change-up right over the block.
Davis will serve. Remember, Coast has one more timeout they can use. Give and go with Jager, who will tip. Ooh, that was an awkward set. Was there a touch? TAV begging for it. No call, and Spears misses wide with another left-handed touch. We'll have a late sub here. You can see, if anything, just an opportunity to let everything breathe as TAV doesn't have a timeout.
That's right. So
sub.
Look at this. This is number 1 that he put in. He needed to do a sub to slow it down. 5-7, if I was Coast, I hope I'd see that because she will be blocking on that right side.
It's Eichenloff. 4 inches of difference between her and Edwards, and a free ball comes. Eichenlauf right front. They'll go after her and win it. Saren Rogers, the hero. Coast.
Wow.
Second place last season, the champions here in 2024.
And the underdogs of what everybody believed that Coast was not going to be able to attack against the incredible physicality block of TAV. Congratulations to Coast, and you see the tears coming right now.
What a match. What a comeback. TAV with a 26-24 first set win. They led 20-15 in the second set. Coast forced extra points, came away with the 17-15 come from behind championship title. And we are shortly ready to be joined. We are waiting for the celebrations. We've got Haya awaiting this Coast run by Saren Rogers. What an absolute story for her to come off the bench in the second set and be the hero.
I mean, I'm blown away. 5'10" outside hitter against a 6'3", 6'6'2" block. She was the star for today for Coast, maybe having her best match of the club season so far.
Talk about an exponential rise in expectations, and you see Saren's me. They want to talk to me.
Yeah, I love that.
And so now, as we see Rogers ready with Haya, we'll throw it over to you now.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Yeah, I'm here with number 11, Saren Rogers, who made the game-winning point. What are your thoughts right now? What are your emotions? I see you have some tears welling up right now. Share them with me.
I don't know, it's so crazy that we won this. We've been working so hard every day in practice and in games and everything, and it feels really good to actually come out and win. Yeah.
Yes, your hard work is worth it, and you had 8 kills, no errors. What do you attribute that to? What has your training been like thus far?
I've been in the gym a lot with coaches every day, trying to just work on my game, and I owe it all to God. I couldn't have done it without him, and yeah.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations once again to you and your team, Saren Rogers.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you to Haya and Saren, whose final line, 8 kills, 13 swings, errorless, off the bench in the biggest of moments. Wrap up your final thoughts in this 18s final.
I just think both teams played exceptional. You're going to see your errors, but everybody, every time they responded to each other, Coast coming from behind, they earned that championship. Incredible talent across the board.
One match left, and we will talk to you again in about a half an hour as the 17s get set, and we wrap up our coverage of the 18s. TAV led early, but Coast, after the bridesmaid in 2023, the bride, and the championship trophy here in 2024. Thank you so much for joining us. For Lori, I'm Daniel. This broadcast aired live on the ESPN app, available on demand on ESPN.